Hello, achievers! Today we are in New York. We are still in New York with a new guest. He is Peter Hopkins. He is the CEO of Big Think. He did interviews with awesome people, awesome leaders on a lot of fields, and I'm very happy to have him today. So, hello, Peter.
Hello, David. Great to be here.
How are you?
I'm doing well, doing very well. Particularly after that enthusiastic introduction.
Thank you. And I let you to introduce yourself. You will do better than me.
Yes, so I'm a co-founder of Big Think. I'm president of the company, and we are an online knowledge forum. We conduct interviews, as you said, with top thought leaders from every major field, people whose ideas are leading change in the 21st century. And we try to boil those ideas down into small, very digestible nuggets of video and text, curate them on our website, bigthink.com, and we've just launched actually a couple of new offerings that take that thousands of hours of information on all these big ideas and actually focus just on the actionable parts, what you can do today, kind of as you were describing your work to me. We really want to help and show people that that big ideas can lead to change.
Action.
Exactly, and it can start now. Exactly.
It's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And why did you start? Why did you start Big Think?
Well, my co-founder and I were producers at a television show on American public television, where we saw major thought leaders, from the President of the United States, the President of France, actors and actresses who had achieved great things in film and on stage. We saw them every day being interviewed on the hour-long daily television program, but their ideas, some of which were so powerful and so seemingly useful to other people, would just go out into the ether and would disappear. And this was right around the time that YouTube was created and launched. And we thought, wow, what if we could take some of that amazing content and amazing ideas, but move it to the internet where it could be accessible forever, and where we could actually distill it into smaller bits that really just focused on the best pieces, and so that people could kind of get to them more quickly. And that's how Big Think began, and really has sort of tracked throughout its history.
Cool.
Yeah.
So, do you have a spatial goal, a spatial domain in Big Think? You have a lot of videos on education.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have some fields that you prefer to talk about?
Sure. Well, the areas that we tend to focus on most are those where there's a lot of change happening. So education is one, as you mentioned. It's an area of particular interest to us because in some ways of thinking about it, what we do is a form of online education. We are interested in how we say making our audience smarter, faster. That's our motto, our tagline. So we focus a lot on the topics around how education is changing at all levels, be it primary education, at high school and lower school, and then also higher education, university education as well. We also focus on technology. Kind of those two go hand in hand. We're very interested in how topics ranging from big data, sort of how measuring everything that we do from where we go on our cell phones to our health and medical conditions, how the ability to measure it and use those measurements to learn things that you can't see or perceive with the eye but are going on underneath or maybe even above, can help us progress even faster and do more with fewer resources. And then we are interested in arts and culture. We've had many great authors like Salman Rushdie, poets on, and we're interested in Also societal issues, people who study economics and growth in the developing world. So it's a pretty wide array.
And I believe a lot on the power of interviews. What did you learn from the beginning? Because you interview a lot of inspiring people, and I believe that in the contact of inspiring people, you learn. And what did you learn from the start?
Well, I think from the start, I think we learned that there's nobody better able to express an idea than the person who thought of it. That the reason why we could have just read about these people and written about them, and in our own words told their story and explained what we thought was, what was the point that their story told. We could have also interviewed them on the phone and got them to tell us their story and written it down, so sort of in their own words, but not from their own mouths as such. And what we learned was as we went kind of to the next level and said, we really want these people to tell their own story. We want to, we don't want to be an intermediary. We don't want to be a messenger. We want to be a facilitator. We want to help get their story out there, but they should be the ones who actually deliver it. And I think we've seen, the interviews have been viewed almost 100 million times. We have reached 5-6 million people a month all over the world on video and via the website. And what we've heard is that's what was the opportunity that was missing. That people had heard from many of these people, but not ever seen them, not ever heard the exact story the way that they wanted to tell it, and that they also appreciated the fact that even when they had heard the story before, that we had brought to bear a certain editing sensibility that focused on getting it down to its core pieces. There are many of our experts who've done interviews with who have spoken many other places, but we bring to bear a standard and a certain sensibility that says, let's get to that specific actionable idea. Let's not have stories about things that they've told 100 other places, or and let's get them also to think about their story in terms of what other people can learn from it. So not just what their PR people have said, that this is how I want to sell my book, or this is what I want you to do for me, but more from the vantage point of this is what I can teach you. And that, I think, is what makes us among a very few entities that do that as such. And that has been what we've heard most from our audience is what they've enjoyed about Big Think.
I enjoy too that. And who does the interview? Yes, who does the interview?
Well, we have a production team. So we have 3 producers who are just focused on conducting the interviews. So they work with an editorial team who will identify candidates for being interviewed. They will work with that interviewee in advance to isolate topics and themes that we think our audience is interested in hearing about their lives and their accomplishments, and sometimes their struggles and challenges. And then that editor will create a dossier about that person, isolating topics and themes, framing questions that they think would be good to ask, and then they turn it over to our production team who are expert at eliciting answers on camera. And so our interviews are filmed not in this style as such, not quite as a conversation, but more as a documentary interview, where we may have people repeat things multiple times, often in the course of a conversation, but conversations usually you don't say, well, let's back up and
Yes,
great
yes,
idea, but can you say that one more time, and when you say it, could you repeat the question? These are the things that you do when you really want to, there's this
Yes,
certain...
to keep only The essence.
The essence, exactly. And so we do that. And that's actually something we shifted toward over the years. At the beginning, we did it much more conversationally. And as we realized that we really wanted to emphasize the faster part of Smarter, Faster, and really clip, another 30 seconds off or, another minute, we began to focus much more on the technique of how to conduct the interviews and balance it against the awkwardness of, being interviewed, being an interviewee and being stopped occasionally. But the balance I think we found has worked for both, because the interviewee ends up with a record of their ideas that's better and crisper and
Yes, I understand.
yeah, and then the audience gets,
And do you talk with each interviewee?
Yes, so we will speak with them. Many of them we've had on now before, so they're familiar with our process, and so we don't necessarily speak to them directly second or third or fourth time. But we certainly exchange with everyone before an interview, and the ones who've never we've never talked to before, or for whom there's very little video available to review, we definitely speak with them, get a sense of their comfort level with different topics, their understanding of who and what we are and what we're trying to achieve, and also the constraints. Some people are available. Our interviews will run as long as an hour and a half, sometimes even 2 hours at the long end. And for those who have the time and availability, that's great. And then on a short end, it might be a very busy, well-known person who's just released a book. They're in New York on a press junket. They've got 20 minutes, 15 minutes, sometimes 10 even, and we can get maybe one good clip, but we're ready to do that, and we're ready to having to do that without any preparation until they walk in the door, and do it in a way that makes them feel comfortable and not make it not terribly awkward.
And you met a lot of inspiring people. Do you feel that you improve yourself each time you met an inspiring people? For example, Richard Branson is so inspiring. So, do you feel a difference in you after meet some people like that?
Absolutely. I mean, I think without a doubt, to hear their stories, to understand from their perspective what it took, to see to hear candidly, both the sense of potential achieved, but also the fact that at any given moment in an individual story of success, there are moments of darkness, there are moments of doubt, there are moments of struggle, and to see those both come across and realize the full picture, because what people only see is success, and that they don't realize every success story has 5 stories of struggle, within it, and moments of doubt, moments of failure, moments of learning, moments of questioning whether it can it's worth going on. And only when you get to hear both, the good and the bad and the in between,
you see that power.
You see the power. And so, without a doubt, and it's
I'm very glad what you are saying about, because I'm glad because the people will be able to listen to that. It's awesome.
Right, absolutely.